looks like is what we see here. In fact, this one is actually available on the Too Tall Toby website. So I think I'm just going to do it right from the Too Tall Toby website. So here we go. We go to tootalltoby.com. Once we go to tootalltoby.com, we're going to say access the full library. And this model here is up at the top of the library. It is what we call a featured challenge practice model. And this week's featured challenge practice model is brought to you by MacroPad. So thank you, MacroPad, for sponsoring these featured challenges. And I'm going to say 250808. Click here to begin. And click here to begin. And go! So you can see here that this model is an eccentric reducer. Kind of a cool model here you might see in the real world. Certainly a good one for you to practice if you're trying to learn by doing. Practice by doing. This is something that you could definitely benefit from in the world of 3D printing, creating a little reducer here, taking a larger diameter down to a smaller diameter. And so for me, if I'm looking at this print, the first thing I'm going to think about is where should the origin be located? And I think that on a model like this, I'm going to be tempted to put the origin at the center of one of these circles. But upon further inspection, seeing that this is kind of like a blend, we're getting into kind of a blend region here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with a layout. So I'm going to put the origin down here on the front plane. I'm going to begin a sketch on the front plane, and I'm going to put the origin down there. And then my sketch on the front plane, I'm just going to kind of lay this geometry out. This is a good strategy when you're first getting into lofting and sweeping. If you're not really sure what the actual loft or the sweep is going to look like, then it's good to kind of start out just by creating a layout of what this thing looks like from one side, maybe create a second layout from another side if you need to, and then see if that helps you to kind of put things together. You can start to go one feature at a time and put those things together and hopefully come up with the solution. So now we want to take a look at some of the Toby notes. So we can see here that all the outer faces are meant to be tangent. So that's going to be important for our solution. We can see here that there's a straight section here. So maybe there's like a line down here in this region, like a little straight section, a little straight line down here between these two radii 40 and radii 35. We see here that these two faces are true cylinders, so true cylindrical faces. That tells me that maybe I want to just make those as an extrusion rather than making those as part of the loft. And then there's some hints over here in case people are just getting into the world of sweeping and lofting. So hint, blend using a loft or a sweep. Well, I'm probably going to do this using a loft. I think it makes the most sense to do it using a loft. Hint number 2, use a guide curve on the top and a guide curve on the bottom. So 2 guide curves for this challenge. Okay, that works for me. And then hint number 3, match the tangency of the blend to the cylindrical faces using options in the loft or sweep. And then it says see tutorial videos, and that's the tutorial that we're going to go through right now. So let's just keep those Toby notes in mind as we go through this challenge. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this challenge over onto my second screen. I know we took a couple of minutes to come up with a game plan there, but I think it's always good to come up with a game plan before you actually jump into your 3D CAD. And if you agree, be sure to hit the like button on this video. So let me jump into SolidWorks. I think I'll bring up my keyboard cam as well so that you can kind of see all the different keyboard shortcuts I'm using. And I'm going to click New, and then I'm going to choose to create a new part here in ABS. And then, whoops, that's supposed to be ABS MMGS. I picked the wrong template there. So I've got a template for my different materials and a template for my unit system. So ABS, and then I'm going to stick to my game plan, front plane, begin a sketch, and I'm going to start by just creating the geometry in that front view. So I'll start with a line here that comes over at 30, a line that comes over here at 67, another line that comes over at 30, a line that comes straight up at a height of 50, a line that comes back in this direction at 30. I'm going to come back, touch the end point, come off of that end point with a radius at 35. I'm going to kind of come up at an angle here. I don't really know what that angle is. Whoops, SolidWorks just decided not to. It didn't want me to keep that radius. Okay, let's try that again. So 35, come up here at an angle. I don't know what that angle is going to be. Come back, touch the end point, come off with an auto radius there at 40. All right, and I'll try to get to vertical, or close to vertical, come across here at 30, and then come straight down to close this thing off. So this is what I think is a good kind of first sketch. Now, you can see here that some of my geometry is still blue, and so what I like to do is just grab a blue point and kind of move it around. So it looks like maybe I'm missing tangency here on this one, so I'll just pick that point and then pick make tangent. Okay, and then it looks like maybe I'm missing a dimension down here, so S key dimension, and we'll add a dimension down here like so, and we'll make that one 30. And let's see here, still blue, so still not sure why this is blue. So, oh, it looks like maybe I'm missing a dimension over here on this side. So click over here, add a dimension, that's going to be 80. And unfortunately, I ran into this situation. This happens from time to time, so I'm just going to delete that line and then just kind of move these around. There are some tricks you can do to repair this, but we're so early in the design that sometimes I will just get rid of it. Create a line, pick this point, tangent, pick this point, tangent, and there we go. Our sketch is fully constrained. So again, if you're new to the world of lofting and sweeping, or even if you're not new to the world of lofting and sweeping, this is a good way to kind of set up your first sketch. Do it on the front plane, put the origin down here in the corner, and then create this sketch. And then we could exit this sketch, and we could call it something like layout dimensions, master layout dimensions, something like that. And then we can right click on that sketch and we could say sketch color and then change the sketch color to something that really pops, like a red or a magenta. Now, we can reuse this sketch for some of our downstream features, but we could also use tools like convert entities for some of our downstream features. And I think that's probably going to be the method I'm going to use just to kind of keep each segment explicit. So I'll show you what I mean here next. I'm going to go to the right plane, begin a sketch. I'm going to create a circle. I'm going to wake up the center point here of this vertical line, move my mouse up, wake up this end point. There we go. Nice, fully defined sketch. S key, extrude. And then I'm just going to pick on this point here to go up to vertex. So you see here the end condition is set to up to vertex, and then I'm going to right click and say OK to finish that. Then I'm going to create a new plane. So I'm going to go here, right plane. I'm going to hold control and drag, and then I'm going to left click on this point and then right click to finish that plane. So that gives me a new plane over there. Pick that plane and kind of rinse and repeat. So S key, circle, pick this midpoint here for my circle, come up to this point here, S key, extrude, pick this point here, right click, and that finishes that part of the command as well. Now I'm going to go front plane and I'm going to take this arc, hold control, pick this line, pick this arc, hold control, pick this line, and pick this arc here. And then I'm going to let go of control and I'm going to choose convert entities. And then I'm going to exit that sketch and I'm going to call that guide curve top. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. So front plane, begin a sketch, pick this curve here, S key, convert entities, exit sketch, and I'll call that one guide curve bottom. Now, it's true that I could use a tool like Selection Manager to just select those while I'm doing my loft, but me personally, I actually prefer to kind of make those explicit and use a convert to grab that information from the master layout, kind of keep that master layout independent, because otherwise that master layout is going to get absorbed into the sweep, and then that makes it a little bit harder for me to make quick changes when I'm talking to the customer. If the customer says, hey, can you make that 40 instead of 30, or can you make that 20 instead of 30? It's a lot easier for me to do that when this sketch is just on its own at the top of the tree than when this sketch is buried or absorbed by the loft. So just personal preference, but that's why it's personal preference. So I'm going to hide that now. And now I'm going to create a loft between these two faces. So instead of creating loft profiles, I'm going to choose the command features, loft, and I'm going to make a loft from this face down to this face. So there we go. There is our loft. And I think that looks pretty good. The problem with this is that it's not currently following the guide. Now, the thing is, when it comes to creating this loft, there's something kind of cool that you can do. And this comes back to the hint that I included in the drawing. Match the tangency of the blend to the cylindrical faces using options in the loft. And you'll see that in different CAD packages, this is an option. So if I go here to this loft and I go in here to where it says start end constraints in SOLIDWORKS, if I fly out this menu and I say tangency to face, what that means is that now when the loft begins coming off in this direction, it's going to start out with a tangency relationship to this entire face, all around this entire face. So I'm beginning with tangency to that entire face. And if I go over here to this end condition for my loft, this end constraint for my loft, I can do the same thing. I can say tangency to face. And now when it gets to this second cylinder, all around the entire loft here, it's going to blend tangent to that second cylindrical face. So we get this nice tangent blend. So just to see a little before and after, here's the before. Just kind of does like a straight line from point A to point B. And then here's the after, tangency to face and tangency to face. And so now you can see I'm almost getting what I want from this loft. I'm almost getting that that nice like blend. I just want it to perfectly match up with this guide here. So I am still going to use the option for guide curve, and then I'm going to pick that sketch, and that picks the entire sketch. And now you see it perfectly matches with that guide curve. And I do want to kind of hold it at the bottom. You see how it starts to get a little bit wrinkly at the bottom there? So I want to make sure I hold it there as well. So I'm going to pick on that guide curve at the bottom as well. And now I've created that transition. It's tangent all around, right? It's tangent over here as well. It's tangent here, it's tangent all around. And then the tangency at the top and the bottom is kind of being enforced by the guide curve and by that tangency constraint that we put in the definition of the loft. So now that I've got that geometry in place, I'm gonna hit the green check mark. I'm gonna choose the shell command. This thing has a default wall thickness of 5. I'll pick this face here, I'll pick this face here, right click to finish that. Now we're gonna add in our chamfer. So this is gonna be a features chamfer. Here it is, chamfer. And then the chamfer is going to be applied on this edge, and the chamfer is going to be at 2 millimeters. And now we should be able to look at our sensor here in the tree. And you always have to control Q here to get this sensor to update, or at least I do. Maybe you don't, but I always have to control Q to get that sensor to update. So control Q, 124.0 grams. So now I'm going to come back to the app, and I'm going to type in that number 184. Oh, no, not 184, 124. But you see here, what's kind of cool is that the practice models app actually validates your answer. So 124, enter, and boom, there is our answer, 124 grams. And we solved that using SOLIDWORKS. Usually I use Onshape in here, but today I solved that one using SOLIDWORKS. And so I'm going to say submit. And now what happens is our time is tracked, and the app will remember what our time was. So you can see here in data and analytics, we were able to come up with a solve time of 10 minutes and 29 seconds, and that was using SOLIDWORKS. And one of the cool things about the app is that then you can kind of experiment and see if you can get faster over time, maybe doing the same challenge over and over again. So I'm going to say try again here, and I'm going to give this thing a second try. So I'm going to say reveal drawing and go. And this time I'm going to solve it using Onshape. Let's see if we can do it Now we can get into our first 42 here on the website. So we can see that it looks like on the website live here during this live stream, there were 12 people who were able to complete this thing. Let's look at the first 42 and see who those 12 people were. So from the time it was released at 1:41 p.m., Rambro's Workshop, our world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, using Fusion, finished the model in just 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Wow, that is incredible, Rambros. GG and well done. And Lotos coming in here in just 2 minutes and 59 seconds from the time it was released. And Victor K here coming in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I think it would have taken me 3 minutes and 10 seconds just to get the thing refreshed and to look at the print and come up with a game plan. So you guys doing it in 2 minutes from the time it was released. Wow, that is incredible. So well done, and congratulations to Rambro's Workshop earning that second point of the day. And that is our second challenge here on Model Monday Live. I hope that you enjoyed those tutorials. I hope you enjoyed that SOLIDWORKS tutorial. And if you did, be sure to hit the like button and leave me some comments down below about what you learned from that live solve.